Hey guys, Marcus and Mitch here, introduction to barbering. So basically, just what you need in your kit, yeah?
Exactly, we're gonna show you exactly what you need to get started.
All right, so basically guys, our first recommendation is obviously your clipper. What clipper do you need? Now, we recommend the Magic Clipper by War. Okay, it's cheap, it's entry level, it's industry standard. The best thing about this clipper is it's not too fast. So if you think about a clipper that's moving extremely fast, or sometimes I like to use the analogy of a tattoo gun. If you got a tattoo gun and it's dotting the skin like this and you turn it up really fast, if I pull a line fast and it's going quite fast, it's just gonna look like a straight line. There's gonna be a lot of ink dispersed through that line because it's moving so fast. If I dialed it down and it was moving very slowly and I pulled a straight line, it would make like a dotted or faded line. That's what these clippers do, right? They don't run so fast, so they're not debulkers. Yeah, they're really good for blending and fading. So they don't move too fast, so you can get that nice buttery blend as you're learning. Sometimes if you get too much of a powerful clipper, it can just rip all of the length out of the hair way too fast. It's really hard to blend. Mitchell?
Exactly right. So something that's gonna have a fast motor in it is something that's gonna be really, really good for bulk. Like Marcus has said, slower the battery goes, the better it is for fading. The faster it goes, the faster it moves the blade. The faster the blade, the better for bulk. The slower it is, the better for fading. And Magic clips kind of come in all different sort of colors and whatnot, but they're all the exact same. They're also one of the easiest clippers to maintain and to look after, which we will show you in future videos, but you will see how easy these are to look after, and they will last you a lifetime if you look after them properly.
Easy, right?
Perfect.
Magic clips, guys.
Literally magic.
That's all you need to start, all right? You don't need 3 clippers, that's one, it's entry level, it's cheap, and it works, okay? The one thing I wish about the clippers, which if you like me guys, you're gonna have the same type of feeling, is why can't we pick our own colors and things like that? But don't worry, one day we'll be able to. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like they're all just come in the stock standard colors.
Like Nike ID, but for clippers.
That's what we need, lads.
Where's it at?
All right, trimmers, okay? This is just your liners, or you can use them for your skin fades, but you need a pair. Now we've got, I don't know what these are called, berets or barrettes, but they're the small wall clippers. We'll leave them in the description or we'll send a link to them. They've got a small head. These are really good because they don't cut. What I mean is they don't pull on the pores, they're not super sharp, and they're great for kids or anyone with soft or damaged skin, yeah?
Exactly right, yeah.
They're not gonna cut super sharp.
They're really soft clipper. They're really, really good for soft skin, for kids, things like that, exactly like Marcus said. Really, really good if you are just starting out, if you're not gonna nick anyone or cause any sort of razor rash on the skin, they're perfect.
You're not gonna get that crispy C-cup lineup that you see on Instagram. You could get there if you married it with a razor and things like that, but it's not gonna be as crispy as say like something with a wider T-blade like this, so we'll get into that now. So you've got 2 options. This is gonna be your wider T-blade. It's gonna be easier for doing really nice lineups and things like that, boxing the front up, doing those really nice and crispy, edges. But to be honest, to start, these can cut people because they're so sharp. They can nip people. If you press too hard, they can irritate the skin. Yeah. You can get a pair, and we're not saying not to, but you've got to be wary. I would say dial in your sensitivity first, get a pair of these. It's gonna save you so much grief, so much blood, so much pain, and then you can upgrade to something like this. If you've got the money, which a lot of you don't, I understand, you can get both or just a better version if you really want to. But I think me and Mitch would suggest you start with something softer just until you get your skills up.
100%, and sort of going on with that as well is when you do get your first trimmers and your first clippers as well, just test them on your own skin, on your arm. Test them on your arm and get a gauge for the pressure that you're applying. That way, when you do apply clipper to head or clipper to face, you've got a good idea of how much pressure you should be putting on. That way you're not going to push the blades in and that can cause it to nick. And it doesn't matter what ones you use. If you press too hard, you are going to nick someone. So just get a good gauge for how it's feeling on the skin as well, all right?
It's a good tip. Use yourself as a test dummy.
100%.
Yeah, you can feel, and that's it, right? You let it sit for a minute or 2.
Yeah.
You go, wow, I'm like a pink marshmallow now. Yeah. I pushed way too hard.
Yeah.
All right. Scissors. Now I know barbers, especially when we're starting, we tend to shy away from the shears. But if you can master these, they're going to be so much more important than even your clipper work, because these are the bread and butter. This is what the biggest crutch of barbers have. They just can't use scissors. They can't use them well, they can't use them confidently, and they shy away from them. If you get good with these, you will be the best barber in the area, in the world, in the city, in the universe, because you've got something. Look, guys, the best barber isn't the one who can do sick burst fades or blowout taper fades or long haircuts. It's the guy who can do everything really good. You want to be that guy. You want to be the guy who can do everything really good. You never want to feel like you can't do something. Like, oh, that's making me a bit nervous, right? That's a lack in skill acquisition. So you need to acquire a skill to get better at that. Without my ramble, scissors, right? Look, get the cheapest scissors you can, guys. It doesn't matter. In barbering, we tend to use serrated scissors, which just means they've been cut with these little nodules on them. You can't see it on camera, but basically it's serrated like a bread knife, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It adds more texture, because in barbering, we do a lot of like scissor over comb and things like that. We basically use these, for lack of a better term, as a clipper. So we need a lot of choppy texture in that hair. And when you use something that the hairdressers use, like a microblade, like maybe like this one, even though it's a thinner, it's kind of the same idea. They can kind of bend and push the hair away when you do your scissor over comb.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And the serrated ones are just great to sort of start to learn on as well, because you're not going to be super upset if you do drop them, if you do blunt them, things like that. You're not going to kick yourself and go, wow, I've just completely ruined expensive gear, you know? But then further going on as well, you know, you can sort of upgrade a little bit if you want to. Like, these aren't serrated. These are more of like a universal scissor as far as barbering and hairdressing go. These are a 6.5 inch. And again, we'll go into more detail as far as picking scissors go in future videos. But for now, a 6.5 inch, I feel, is always a really, really good length to start with. It's not too short, it's not too long. You can generally do everything with it. You can scissor over comb, you can point cut, you can cut through the fingers. It's a really, really good length of scissor to start with. But I would recommend starting with the serrated ones first and just getting the hang of using your scissors first before you upgrade to something like this.
Mitch is right. If you get too long of a scissor, it can get real almost tensiony, for lack of a better term, because you're using a lot of force, you know.
Yeah.
You can also accidentally nip people.
Yeah,
I know.
Of course you can, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's just a longer lever, you know. It's hard. Sometimes you're focusing on where you're cutting, you're not focusing on the tip. So you really got to be careful of that. But that's right, hey.
It's true.
The 6.5.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, so now we're kind of bashfully going back on what we said a little bit, but thinning shears or scissors, right?
Yeah.
Look, they generally come in one size, but you can get longer ones and shorter ones. There is like a standard size for these more than the other scissors, right?
Correct.
But what I'd recommend, and what Mitch would recommend, is get a 30 tooth thinning shear, right? Because if you get less than that, it becomes really chunky, and they're almost like, it's a bit gimmicky, but they call them texturizers. And basically they're just really, like, they don't have, they're small, they have less number of teeth, and they're just thinners. So they really chunk the hair. You don't want those as a beginner. To be honest, I wouldn't even recommend those period in your kit, because you can get a better finish and a more controlled finish with cutting techniques, right?
100% you could. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for that.
These are gonna make any lines, any discrepancies, any weight nice and smooth. They will save you when your skills aren't there yet. And when your skills get there, they'll make your haircuts look even better, okay? So I know, like, a lot of barbers say don't thin, don't use it. That's not true. If anyone's been to TAFE and gotten their diploma, you know these are essential part of your kit. So get ones with 30 teeth, get the cheapest ones you can, and you're gonna have nice buttery transitions through them.
100%, yep. And again, all shapes and sizes, but like Marcus said, around the 30, 32 teeth, perfect. Like, honestly, you get an all-purpose scissor, then you get a good thinning scissor and a good blending scissor as well. And as we'll get to in the future as well, these come in very handy for those dark spots on your fade.
Yeah.
Very handy.
We're gonna chuck a little wild card in here. You don't need this to start, guys, okay? You really don't.
But it's great.
Look, this is a feather razor. And all it is a razor blade with little nodules in it, so it cuts every other hair, right? So when you put, it's just like a pair of scissors. You use your ring finger on your dominant hand. It's got the tang. As you pull a line, it creates texture. Instead of cutting it bluntly, it kind of rips the hair apart and like a ribbon kind of chops through a longer piece of it. So it looks all blown out and textured and beachy. Super easy to use. You got to buy different blades for these. It's more of a hairdressing tool, but with all the texture in men's haircuts nowadays, you really should learn how to use a feather razor. Get the cheap plastic ones, get the cheap blades, and you don't need it, but and I think you will be with the kind of climate of how things are right now, texture, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you could get one, right?
100%, yeah. It's good to have in your arsenal.
Love it. The comb.
The comb. Essential. All right, again, all shapes and sizes, but for now, we'll be looking at a cutting comb. Cutting comb, because you use it to pick up your layer, cut through your finger, or scissor over comb as well. So scissor over comb, perfect. That's your comb right there.
It's easy, right? Get the cheapest comb that feels comfortable, that's not too big or too small. If it's way too small, it's really uncomfortable. You can't even comb the hairs properly. If it's too big, you drop it, it's just, it doesn't catch hairs are falling through. You know when you have a comb too big, the sections are just falling through it?
100%, yeah.
Just get a comb that you feel comfortable with. Sometimes it's better to go to the supplier guys. I know you're young, some of you guys. I know we've got all ages in here, but some of you younger fellas, I know you might be a bit daunted to go into places, but if you go into the hair suppliers, and get a feel for things, it shows initiative, and at least you get to tactile feel and see what you're getting, Sometimes when you buy things online, which I know it's fine and everyone does, we do it too, but when you're starting out, it doesn't hurt to go into your local barbershop, ask your barber if you can have a flirt with his things, and ask
100%.
people, ask your barber,
100%.
ask your friends, ask your mate if he cuts hair, whatever, go into the shops, ask the lady or the man who's there, they'll help you, It's just little things like that. It also shows a little bit of emotional maturity as well, yeah? But of course the adults don't need that. But cutting comb, right? Pick a comfortable one, don't overthink it, and don't spend too much money on things that you don't need to, guys. Yeah.
And also, like Marcus said, go get a feel for it, because it's really important to get a feel for your comb in your hands. Everyone's hands and fingers are all different shapes and sizes, so the way that we hold combs are all very, very different, right? So width and length are always going to come into factor on that, but make sure you really get a good feel for it, okay? And now coming back to our second comb that I would recommend, a paddle comb 4, clipper over comb blending, okay? So these are purely for blending, okay? Clipper over comb only. I would never use scissor over comb on these. They're way too wide. You'll end up chunking your comb way too much, okay? So we'd comb the hair up, straight across, and as you can see, this comb is pretty much made for the exact same width as what a clipper head would be, which will reduce the risk of you coming off the comb and putting holes in your haircut, okay? So again, another very essential piece of equipment. As far as your combs go, cutting comb and a blending comb you can generally get away with, but then some other combs that we've got that Marcus has got here are some different types of blending combs for clipper over comb.
You need that paddle comb. You need it, guys. It's really important. It's a large paddle-like comb, and you need it for clipper over comb. Especially with the way the climate's going, we use this so much in barbering. It differentiates us. This is a big piece of what differentiates us from hairdressers as well. This is a skill that only barbers truly have. Some hairdressers have it, but we're taught this a lot. It's a bread and butter technique. If some barbers don't use it, you're severely, giving yourself a lower hand if you're not utilizing it. Because then you're just limited to guards and scissor techniques.
100%.
This can create a lot of shape with a lot of different hair textures and save you in a lot of different scenarios. Yeah?
Without a doubt.
Learn it, guys. It'll help you. We'll teach you it. Pick it up, they're cheap, and it'll save you in so many scenarios. You can get smaller ones for around the ears and, more tapered looking ones, but generally it's like a wide paddle-ish comb.
Yeah.
Nothing to overthink, but definitely something you need. It's a non-negotiable, yeah.
100%. Alrighty, so these aren't necessarily essential, because I would really prefer if you guys learn how to use your scissors first, then your clippers, and then your foils, okay? So getting your basics down packed first before you get into this, all right? So foils, again, you can get a billion different types of foils. My favorite are generally the Wall or Andis foils. They're really, really good. They've got that little bit of pushback on their foil. And they're just a really, really good quality foil. They last a long time. For guys like us, we're doing skin fades pretty regularly, and the blades really do last quite a while. But again, something lightweight as well. You don't want to have something really heavy, and something with a really powerful engine in it, because you can be going through not just head hair, but face hair as well when you do skin fades, or if you do a full face shave and they don't want a blade on their face, which a lot of people don't these days, okay? You got anything to add to that?
There's your 000s. These are your skin machines, okay? The trimmers, we'll just take a step back. These are your zeros. Your normal clippers are gonna pull a 0. It's gonna have a bit of stubble in it, okay? But it's gonna be there.
And then these here are like your 000, okay? So your 000 are your trimmers. Like Marcus said, your normal 0 is your normal clipper, and then your foils will be your 000, okay?
Short, shorter, shortest. So these are smooth, yeah? Another thing I'd recommend on top of that is, look, some clippers look really swanky danky and they're cool, and I've bought them before, okay? But like Mitch said, they're really heavy. You don't realize when you're using something and it's extremely heavy for hours a day, your arm gets sore, your rotator cuff gets sore, you get tense, you get tired, and it puts you in awkward positions. Also, I've bought, this is just a side note, a little tidbit, I have bought chrome ones before, and this goes for clippers as well. If you're in a barbershop, they're really well lit because we need the downlighting. If you get a chrome clipper, every time you move it, it's gonna flick light into your face. It gets very frustrating. I know this is a bit silly, and it's like a left field kind of a thing, but consider it, guys, because it will bother you so much. I'm telling you, if it's something you're doing every day, you don't want something that you're using like a tool to frustrate you in that regard. But yeah, get the Andis ones, get the Wall ones. Most suppliers have the blades for those two only anyway. Yeah. Because the other ones are so unknown.
Exactly right. And like Marcus said, like it's a point I didn't even think about. The chrome foils, they look sick, but they are just not practical at all. I've had the, I think I had the Babyliss ones. Great clipper, cut incredibly well, like fantastic. Probably one of the strongest foils I've ever had. But in saying that, the chrome, it does make a difference when you're getting that light flashing in your eyes. It gets very annoying after a while.
Clips. Look, there's 1,000 clips. I've used, like, I remember when I was starting barbering, we had these Velcro clips come out, you know, and they're like a pad, and you put them on your head and you swipe them across, and they do absolutely nothing. They look great, but they don't work. A lot of things aren't actually functional. They don't actually work. No. Okay, the gimmicky stuff, try to stay away from. It's hard to see, but once you're in the industry for a while, you'll understand. There's other clips that just kind of look like the bottom half of this, but replicated on the top. They really, they work sometimes, but a lot of the hair, especially if it's not wet, just kind of just slips out. Very silky hair, clean hair will just slip out. You can get them, they work well enough. But if you want a cheap option that's always going to work, is always available, has stood the test of time, and are just amazing, these are called alligator clips because it looks like an alligator's mouth. They've got this little buckle in them. They're not too spectacular. They don't look the best, but they work amazingly. They fit the concave of the head. They're beefy, and they do what you need them to do. They clip the hair, they section the hair, yeah?
Exactly right. These are the strongest clips that you can get, okay? So if you've got people like Marcus and myself that have got really, really stubborn, thick hair, any other clip is not gonna cut it. You're gonna have massive issues with your sections falling out, and it just takes you way longer, and then you're getting way less haircuts done. And you're more worried about this holding hair than anything, okay? So just rule that out and get yourself some alligator clips, all right? We've tried and tested these. This is why we're recommending all of this stuff to you guys, because we've been there, we've made the mistakes, we've used the crap gear, we've used the gimmicks. Everything we're showing you is what works and what we use every day.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I wanted the stuff that looked the coolest, but sometimes the stuff that looks the coolest isn't the best.
No, yeah, no way.
You got to learn that the hard way sometimes. You hear it, but you don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Spray bottle. Doesn't, like, guys, we will give you some recommendations. We'll leave them in the comments, or we'll write a cheat sheet for you. We've set a couple in this video, but take it with a grain of salt. And if you're on a budget, just choose the cheapest option that you could find. Yeah. you can come back to us and we can kind of give you some specific brands of specific tools that you're specifically looking for, but don't overthink it. Just get the cheap ones. If they break, like Mitch said, it's fine, and you're not going to be like, oh my God, I broke this hundreds of dollars of pairs of whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
100%.
Just don't cause yourself stress, because you're going to drop your stuff as well. That's the thing.
You will drop your stuff.
You're going to drop it. You're going to get really good at it, and then you're going to stop doing it, and you're going to get better.
And you're going to do these ones where you drop it and then your body takes over and you try and start juggling your clippers and then you're
And when you're at the
and you're
gym,
on Ronaldinhoing your foils on the floor.
Spray bottles. Use your mum's one. Go to Kmart, wherever, guys. It doesn't matter. Suppliers have them. You can get them online. There's ones that look like whiskey bottles if you want to be cool, you know, or whatever. Just get one. There's these ones that are like the hairdressing ones, those slow release ones where you pump it and it kind of sprays.
Like
delay.
a mist.
It's like a mist and it sprays it like a delay. I don't really like those. I like to saturate the hair quite fast, and like an auto, not my cup of tea. I like a manual. I want to be in control of the gears.
Those pumps also fail ridiculously quick too. I've used them before.
Yeah.
Again, going back to what we were saying as far as we've used all this stuff before and tried it. They break really, really quick. Just get a cheap, normal spray bottle, okay? It sprays water. You don't need to be expensive, okay?
Don't overthink it.
No.
Perfect, guys. So lastly, we've got 2 things left.
Juggle your foils.
Check your foot. Hair dryer.
Oh, a Dyson. Oh, it's a really expensive Dyson. It's not. It's a Kogan hairdryer that's about $89 and they work, if not better than a Dyson. Don't fall for the really expensive stuff, okay? It's literally all the exact same, all right? Really easy to use.
Super simple. Get a hairdryer that's cheap. You can go to the shops, you can get them online. We got ours on Kogan. They're amazing. And again, you're not going to be worried if they break. We're the professionals. We're telling you to buy the cheap stuff. Yeah? It's all good.
Exactly right. We've used these things every single day, hours and hours a day. They work really well. They're fantastic. I wouldn't recommend anything that I don't use. And we both use them. They're fucking awesome.
This one's good if you want to. The Kogan goes great. One thing we would recommend is to get a diffuser. Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people have curly hair. They like their curls maintained and groomed, and they also want to be pampered. The industry's kind of changing to cater towards curly hair as well, or even textured hair. Like if you look at the top of Mitchell's hair, that was created with a diffuser this morning, and it wouldn't have looked anything like that if he didn't have one, you know? So a diffuser, you know, it just naturally dries the hair instead of blowing it around. They're cheap. You can get universal ones if your hairdryer doesn't come with it, and it's just something you really should have in your kit.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic. Takes away the frizz and it just replicates a natural drying process as best it can. Diffuser, essential. Every barbershop should have one. If you don't, what are you doing?
Silly. A neck duster. A duster.
Yeah.
Anything.
Again, cheap one. Don't have to go all out and empty the bank account on a duster.
Use a brush around the house if you don't have one.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's soft and it doesn't hurt your clients.
Get a soft paintbrush if you really need to, you know? Like, it brushes hair off. It's the same as long as it's nice and soft and it's not going to irritate skin. Perfect.
Some people have their stripes about it or whatever. A bit of talcum powder goes a long way just to get if anyone's sweaty or if they're a bit sticky or they've got hair on them. It dries them out and it gets all the hair off them.
100%.
You don't have to use it, but it's just there if you need to.
I think it's great as well, and especially like you really got to assess the climate that you're in as well. So for us, we're in Queensland. It's coming into summer. It's really hot at the moment. It's really humid. People are sweaty. People are working outdoors. When you finish a haircut, those little hairs are going to stick like you wouldn't believe. And if you don't have talcum powder, you are never going to get that hair off. And I promise you that.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it is. It's a nightmare and it's not one you want to have to deal with. And it looks professional when you send your client back out and they're not saturated in hair.
They feel good. You know, when you're itchy, you got all hair in your collar and you're like this. And
it's horrible. It sucks.
It's a horrible feeling, guys. Like, you know, when you can't go home after your haircut, you're just itchy all day.
Yeah, you get hair all through your car and finding hair in your car in 8 years' time. It's like, yeah, awesome.
Sweet, love that. Clip aside, guys, it's just a spray that gets rid of, it will kill a small horse. Not really, but
don't try it at home.
Look, it's a 5-in-1 formula. They're all pretty similar. They just get rid of any fungal or bacteria or anything airborne or gross or just anything, you know, that you don't want, the yuckies, yeah? This will kill anything. You need it for your equipment, ringworm, things like that. You really need to stay on top of your equipment. This is so important. I wouldn't be cutting hair if I didn't have this in the shop. I'd go get some before we open because there's no way you can do it. If you're cutting multiple clients a day, your clippers need to be sprayed before, during, and after every haircut. I know it sounds excessive, but it's the truth, okay? You need to clean your equipment. It's just an aerosol spray. It's called Clipicide. I could bore you with the facts, but like it says, it disinfects, it lubricates, it cleans, it cools, and anti-rust, right? It's just for cleaning. It gets rid of germs, fungus, parasites, viruses, all the bad stuff. All right there, yeah? If you don't want that, use this, yeah? It just cleans your equipment and you need to use it before, during, and after every client. Easy.
You don't want to be that guy walking around and everyone's like, ew, he's got ringworm.
Yeah, definitely not want to be that guy.
Show us your clippers.
Show us your clippers. Styptic. Look, this stuff just clots blood. So if you nip or cut someone or a mole gets touched or whatever, if there's any blood, this just helps nullify that bleeding. It clots the bleeding and it can allow you to keep working, put a Band-Aid on, or just stop the blood from coming out, right? On top of that, you can definitely marry this with something like some gloves, right? You can get them from the supplier, you can get them online, but it just helps if they've got a cut or if you've got a cut, you definitely need to chuck a Band-Aid on, chuck a bit of Styptic on it and put a glove on, yeah.
100%, and that's the thing, you will cut yourself more times than you'll cut anybody, and I promise you that. I still, to this day, you still nick your knuckles with the scissors. You know, you're under the pump sometimes and you're trying to move a little bit quicker, and when that happens and you're using sharp instruments, you can tend to cut yourself, okay? So again, really recommend actually what Marcus just said as far as getting a glove. So Styptic, Band-Aid, glove, okay? Nice and sanitary, you're not gonna get anything on the client, you're not gonna get any stuff into your wound either, okay? Going on from that, as far as sharp utensils go, straight razor, okay? Disposable blade in it, you have the shaft, and then you have the body of the razor, okay? So your blade will go into that little saddle in there, and then you load your blade in here, okay? And then this, every time, you'll put into a solution of antibacterial barbicide, hospital grade barbicide. That'll get rid of any nasties on there, because obviously as you do shave, you generally do take off that first really thin layer of the skin on the top, okay? So obviously you can imagine if you're doing that with 100 people and you don't rinse it, in this little bath of glory, that there, it's gonna kill any little nasties you've got on this, okay? And then obviously the blade gets replaced every single time, okay? So again, don't have to break the bank on these. These are just the Wohl Barber straight razors. They're fantastic. They're really cheap. They last forever. And you can buy hundreds of them, just keep them in the drawer, okay? And as they break, just replace them.
They're like $3 or something. Don't quote me, but they're
super
super
cheap.
cheap. These are blades. You'll need these, like you said, for those. Just a quick little cheat sheet. They come in twos. Keep them in the wrapper. Super simple. Bend them in half, which most razors, straight razors, take them. Bend them back over so they don't have a bevel on the edge, and they rip in half. It's super simple, guys.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys the barber side as well. Go.
So as Marcus just said about blades, showed us how to break this. So going back to that as well, branding of blades, these are Astras. Astras are by far the best blades I've ever used. I've used multiple other ones. These are always the sharpest and they have the least amount of duds in there. By duds, I mean sometimes you get a bit of a blunt blade and it doesn't cut very nice. Very rare to get a blunt blade in these, and we've tried 100 brands. Astra's by far the best.
So as well as your clipper side, you need your barber side, okay? It's just hospital grade and disinfectant. Again, this will kill anything. You can soak all of your equipment in this, like all of your combs and things like that. Obviously not your electronics, but everything else.
Everything
goes in this, yeah?
Everything.
You can marry it with a UV warmer, but that's later on down the track. All you really need is a clipper side and some barber side. Cheap, you can get less than this, and it's like cordial. You kind of just mix a little bit into some warm water. Yeah,
exactly right. And just to keep your bench space nice as well, you can get those little, you would have seen those little old school cylinders, like glass cylinders. Looks like a big glass vase basically, and you fill that up with all your water and then a little bit of your barber side and get your ratio right, and then you can keep your combs and your blades and everything like that inside there, And then that way it's all nice and neat on your bench and you've got no excuse to be running back and forth. You just chuck it straight in.
That's pretty much everything. Look, if we've missed anything, we'll add it. But the last thing you'll need is a client, yeah? And this is later down the track, okay? Obviously you need to get comfortable with using your equipment, holding it, working with it, knowing what they do, how they do, what they do, all of the bells and whistles, right? Now you can always use a friend, a family member, someone from school, someone from work, someone from your family, your dad's mate, whoever, a bloke with hair, a bloke with no hair, a canvas. If you don't have a client, again, you can use your arms, you can use your legs, you can use what you've got. If you have any facial hair, you can use your facial hair. If you're willing enough, you can use yourself. But a really cheap option, and it's just gonna make you feel so much more comfortable in your process of learning, is buying a mannequin head, a barbering mannequin head, guys. They're cheap, you get to learn in private and peace and on your own time. It's very scary when you're learning something that you're not good at yet and you're developing skill acquisition and you've got a live person there that you're doing it on. Number one, it's their aesthetic, so they want to look good, in a regard. And also you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to cut someone, you don't want to make it look bad, and you don't know what you're doing, especially if you don't have someone there next to you, which a lot of times when you're learning, you don't. Sometimes the best option, and these are cheap as chips, they're like $12 or something, don't quote me, but you can find really cheap ones. They come with the beard and the hair. They start with really long hair, so you can start on your long layers and then go down to fades. We'll show you how to utilize them. You can use panels. You can chop these into 1,000 different pieces so you can practice different things, so then that you're not just getting one haircut out of them. But this would really be helpful, guys, a mannequin head. They're cheap, they're easy, and you get to learn at your own pace and your own privacy. It's sometimes better than a person when you're starting,
For sure, 100%. The other thing is as well, when you're dealing with a person, you've got a lot of other different variables. You've got different growth of hair, you've got a conversation happening, you've got other things going on in the shop as well, you know what I mean? So on a mannequin head, best way to start learning and just sort of getting a feel for moving around the haircut as well, and your positioning and how you're going to take your sections and what's comfortable for you and not awkward, and you can start to nail those little things before you actually have a real person sitting in front of you. Super, super, super important. Would highly recommend getting a mannequin. Also, clipper guards, okay? Very, very important to get really good quality clipper guards. You use them in nearly every single haircut, so you want really good quality. As far as things not breaking, these are things you don't want to cheap out on, are your clipper guards. These are the ones we use. These are the metal wall clipper guards. They are fantastic. I wouldn't recommend anything else if I'm being completely honest with you. By far the best.
Guys are the best. They're not cheap, but you're not going to be buying them over and over and over again. They last a long time. These are just sturdy. The clip's really important. I've cheaped out before in the beginning and not got ones with the clip on there. They're just plastic. They're like this, but they're just plastic. They have fallen off when I've done a haircut, and we've almost put a hole in this person's hair. So it was no fault of my own. It was an equipment issue, and that was because of cheap equipment. Like Mitch said, don't cheap out on these. You can get the magnetic ones. They're really, if you're moving fast, you're putting guards on and off quickly. Sometimes the magnetic guards can be a hindrance. It's hard to get them off. It's hard to get them on. These are quick fire. It's like a quick mag.
Exactly. They never fail you. You can't fault them. They just work and they do what they're meant to do. Okay. Now we have a couple different fade brushes. So we have a larger paddle fade brush and a smaller one. So depending on what you like, again, it goes back to the whole comb thing where get a feel for it, okay? Cleaning your clippers, brushing hair off the side of the hair. Obviously use different brushes for that, please. Don't use the same one.
So use your big brush, your big shoe looking brush for cleaning, and use your smaller brushes for dusting the client off.
Good for fading, really good for fading. Like I was talking about with this humid weather, with hair sticking to people, sticking to their scalp. This here's got a really, really solid bristle on it. And that there will just really try and get most of that hair off of the skin and create a nice clear canvas for you.
Yeah, and just clean your equipment. Have a brush, itemize your equipment and your things and clean it. brush everything down before you spray it down. That way it's gonna leave a lot less wet hair on all your stuff. Guys, that's your introduction to barbering, and that's basically what you need, the essentials for your first kit, okay? If you can get a couple of those, you're on the track to start barbering. Now, if you just want to get a clipper, a pair of scissors, and a comb, that's okay too. You can learn a lot just with those three. You don't have to get all the bells and whistles. But if you're starting properly and you want to make this a career and you're going towards that direction of learning and skill acquisition, this would be the full starter kit that you guys need, yeah?
100%, and we would never recommend anything to you that we don't already use ourselves. We've trialed and errored so many different things and curated this list for you guys for exactly what you need to begin today, okay? Like Marcus said, if all you can get is a couple things for now, that's all good. All you really need is a comb and something to cut with, okay? As far as really down to basics getting started, if that's all you can get it. It's something, and it's something to get started with.
Use the kitchen scissors, right?
Literally.
Make it happen, boys and girls. Just
It's
come along
possible.
for the journey. Yeah, we can pyramid and domino things. All right, so that's basically the rundown. If you have any questions, obviously ask us. We've got more modules coming, and in the next one, we're gonna teach you how to use everything, how to hold everything, how to use everything, which I think a lot of people don't think about when you're just starting. I think a lot of people jump the gun and go straight into cutting hair, but they don't even teach you how to hold your equipment, right? No point hammering a nail if you don't even know how to hold a hammer, yeah? Easy as. We'll see you guys next time.